Terence Bud Crawford. Janibek Alam Kanuli. Terence Bud Crawford. Janibek Alam Kanuli. Trade little pleasantries. Bud Crawford is clearly indicating that he got his eyes on Janibek as he looks to try to become 4-time undisputed and fight in the middleweight division. Now, Janibek and Bud is a really good fight, and I hope he's able to get that fight. Let's talk about this whole situation in this video. Smash the like, sub to the channel, share the video. We live Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday night at 7:30. Also live Sunday mornings with the Singing OG KC Boxing Network. Sunday mornings 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. First and foremost, Jhanibeck is fighting Erislandy Lara in a 3-belt unification on December the 6th. And I would advise Jhanibeck to not be going back and forth with Bud Crawford, not be talking about Terence Bud Crawford, and not even entertaining Terence Bud Crawford. Bud Crawford can do that. He handled his business with Canelo. He don't have a fight coming up. He can be looking around, calling people out, seeing who he want to fight, saying what he want to say, because he don't have his eyes on nobody else, and he's not fighting in the unification fight. Janibek, on the other hand, bro, you in there with one of the most skilled boxers that you could be in there with, that has been slumping-ish since coming to 160 pounds. Janibek don't have near the experience of Erislandy Lara, and I'm not so sure if he's as skilled as Erislandy Lara. Erislandy Lara is a highly, highly skilled fighter. You go watch his fight with Canelo Alvarez. You go watch Bud Crawford's fight with Canelo. You go watch Floyd Mayweather's fight with Canelo and tell me that Erislandy Lara ain't standing in the same room with them in terms of skills. He just don't get the publicity. He just don't get the push being out of Cuba, and he didn't have the huge name. So Canelo was able to squeak by with a draw against Lara, but Lara was boxing Canelo head off. And now you got a more stationary Lara that's sitting on his shots, that's damaging people, that's knocked out 5 of his last 6 opponents at middleweight. Lara trying to pull a Rolly Ramiro. How Rolly did to Ryan Garcia and messed up the whole plans for Turkey, Golden Boy, Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. Rolly went in there and messed up all them plans, and people didn't think he was capable of it. I'm here to tell you, Erislandy Lara, in my mind, I think the odds are too wide for him and Jhanibeck. They got Jhanibeck as a -400 favorite. Erislandy Lara as a +350. Okay. Okay. Say what you want about Danny Garcia, but Danny Garcia ain't never been down before. Erislandy Lara made that man quit. He's patient. His timing is crazy. His jab is nasty. And all them feints and that little fancy shit Jhanibeck like to do, that shit'll get him caught against somebody like Erislandy Lara. So, Bud Crawford, he can do what he want. He can go after the winner. He can talk all that noise about Jhanibeck, but I think Bud Crawford is jumping the gun, only targeting Jhanibeck. I think Jhanibeck is jumping the gun, acting as if he wants to get it cracking with Bud Crawford when he got Erislandy Lara on his plate. There's that part of it. Again, I'm going to continue to also speak to the politics of this situation. Terence Bud Crawford doesn't really have a promoter. He's chosen to align himself with Turkey Al-Ashiki. And in doing so, he has a lot of money backing him. Cool. Maybe Turkey be willing to overpay to where these guys can't play games with him and so forth and so on. But what I do know is that Jhanibeck and Erislandy Lara are top-ranked PBC fighters respectively. If Jhanibeck wins, will Bob Arum, will Top Rank be wanting to give Terence Crawford those 3 belts if he beats Jhanibeck? And then, or would they be wanting to have Jhanibeck go for undisputed and fight Carlos Adames? For Erislandy Lara, complicated situation, right? If he beats Jhanibeck, He's over there under the PBC. Will PBC be looking to make the fight with Erislandy, Lara, and Bud Crawford? Or will they want Bud Crawford to do like a 2-fight deal and sign the fight Erislandy, Lara, and Carlos Adames? Because they will have all of the belts. Now, that situation is more complicated because of a couple of reasons. Number one, the relationship with Bud Crawford and Premier Boxing Champions is not the best. You just go watch Bud Crawford's latest interview with Andre Ward, and you know there's no love lost between him and PBC. And the other thing that's complicating it is Erislandy, Lara, and Carlos Adames don't want to they don't want to fight each other, right? They don't want to fight each other. And so PBC can't probably make an in-house undisputed fight because they don't want to fight each other, being from around the same area. And Carlos Adames, well, I can't say each other, right? Because I haven't heard or seen any comments from Erislandy Lara saying he don't want to fight Carlos Adames. I have seen Carlos Adames saying he looks up to Erislandy Lara too much, they're too good of friends, and that he don't want to fight Erislandy Lara. But I haven't heard Lara say that. But you know, if the money right, they may be willing to do it. So it's a lot of politics behind that stuff. Hopefully with the backing of Turkey Al-Sheikh, Bud Crawford is able to get these fights because he deserves an opportunity to try to make history and continue to etch his name in the history books, whether I'm a fan of his or not. I feel like he deserves that right. He deserves that opportunity to go for 4-time undisputed, and then that can put him in some conversations that his fans are trying to rush him to have. Now you can start comparing him to some of these guys, and you can start trying to put him in these conversations that people are trying to have. You can start having that Mount Rushmore conversation if you want to have it. You can start having that conversation with him and Floyd if you want to have it. Now, I still don't think there's anything he can do to catch Floyd Mayweather. I don't think there's anything he can do to catch Ray Leonard. I think the gap is too wide. But I definitely think he can just dead any noise, dead any conversation about him and Alexander Usyk, if he's able to pull this off. And even if he don't become all the way undisputed, if he goes to 160 and he beats 2 of the current champions, like he beats Janibek, he beats Lara, or he beats Jhanibeck, he beats Carlos Adames, or he beats Lara, he beats Carlos Adames, and it doesn't make him undisputed, bro, he still deserves to be in that conversation. But for sure, if he becomes undisputed, you can start having them conversations. The problem is going to always be, though, when you compare his resume, because he's only going to probably get 2 of them if he becomes undisputed. And when you stack up his competition and you say Errol Spence, Canelo Alvarez, Janibek, and Carlos Adames, or if Lara beats Janibek, you say Canelo Alvarez, Errol Spence, Erislandy Lara, Carlos Adames. And then you compare that to all these other Hall of Famers, all these other, not even Hall of Famers, all these all-time greats that people want to put him in the conversation with. The fighters that he fought are still gonna pale in comparison when you start putting his resume up against guys that people want to compare him to, like a Floyd Mayweather. But man, I hope he gets the fight, bro. I really hope he's able to get these fights. I have my doubts. Specifically, I want to see what Top Rank and PBC announced for 2026. I want to see what their moves are for the year 2026 and see how they moving and what they doing. Because if they're in lockstep working together like it's rumored to be, then it could be some tricky situation for Terence Crawford. But there's nothing that money can't solve, and Turkey already opened up the bank for Terence Crawford to get the Canelo fight. Now he still owe Canelo $200 million after losing to Bud Crawford. So we'll see how that plays out moving forward. Will he be willing to do that again to really, really super overpay to get Bud Crawford the fight that he wants and kind of leave himself exposed like he is with Canelo right now? Because Canelo ain't taking a pay cut. And the value ain't really there when you got schooled like by Terence Crawford the way you got schooled. You ain't a champion no more. Like, what type of fight can Canelo have to warrant him making the money that Turkey has guaranteed to pay him in their contract. I can't think of nothing, can you? So we'll see how this all plays out, man, for Bud Crawford. But him and Janibek going back and forth, I still think it's some hurdles to that fight. And those hurdles are mainly with what Top Rank has planned for Janibek and what Premier Boxing Champions may have planned for the middleweight division. These two promoters that are in direct competition with Turkey Al-Sheikh, they're not going to want to sell all the stock they have in the middleweight division to Terence Bud Crawford, and then now the fighters coming behind him have nothing to fight for because he don't want to fight some young up-and-coming guy coming to 160 that's a contender. He may drop and disperse the belts, and then now it's a free-for-all. So very interesting times in the middleweight division. We'll get to see a lot and learn a lot from Erislandy, Lara, and Janibek, and then we'll see where Terence Crawford goes from there. But y'all let me know what y'all think. Comment below, smash the like, sub to the channel. I'll see y'all soon. Peace.